Cheers! All right, guys, this is like our last big push for a math lesson, all right? So stick with me. Here is the deal. Today's math lesson, you have today and tomorrow to do. There are no workbook pages. There is no lesson check on Edulastic, but there are two parts that you need to do. So you have to listen and watch real carefully so you know what you have to do, okay? All right. Reviewing, we know that a solid shape, we can also call a 3D shape or a three-dimensional shape. That D stands for dimensional. And we know that a solid shape has a length, a width, and a height, okay? It has that third, it has that height that a plain flat shape does not have, right? So that's how we can decipher plane shapes from solid shapes, is that it has this third measurement. So for today's lesson, we're going to review, can you zoom out for me, Jack? We're going to review what we've already done, and then we're going to use some other tools that you have to work on our measurement skills, okay? All right, so let's quickly review what we did on Monday and Tuesday. All right, so we talked about three-dimensional shapes, and we said a 3D or a solid shape has 3 dimensions, and we learned all these different names of three-dimensional shapes, right? So this one would be called I noticed it has squares on every single side, so that was a cube, right? And this rolling on the ball is a sphere. And this one, it looks like a party hat, or if I turn it upside down, I could put ice cream in it because it's a cone. And this one, I'm giving away some of my answers just by doing this, is a cylinder. This one is a pyramid, but we name it for its flat bottom. So this would be called a square pyramid. Okay, so that would go there. What is this one? This one is these are rectangles. The ends right here are squares, but that side, these other ones are rectangles, so that's a rectangular prism. All right, so those were the 6 solid shapes that we were focusing in on. And we learned what a face was, what an edge was, and what a vertex was. Now, a face is a flat surface. So you've been busy counting all the flat surfaces of a cube. You know that a cube has 6 surfaces, right? It has 6 flat sides. So it has 6 faces. So does a rectangular prism. Does a sphere? No, a sphere has nothing flat, so it has no faces, right? How about a cone? A cone has one, look, has one flat surface. This is a cone. Has one flat surface. So it has one face. Okay? A cylinder would have 2 faces, right? Okay. Edges. What do you notice about edges? Do cones or spheres or cylinders have edges where 2 lines, where the line segments where 2 faces meet? Let's see, what do you think? Yeah, an edge is kind of like that. So it does have an edge of sorts. I guess this would be kind of the edge, right? Does a sphere have an edge? No. This would be the edge of a cube. Okay, so then what is a vertex? A vertex, remember that bottom of the V is that point? A vertex is the point or the corner of where edges meet. So right here would be a vertex, right? Right here would be a vertex. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you are going to do this solid shape assessment, okay? And Jack, can you zoom in on for a second for me? Okay, so I made it into a Google slide for you, and we're going to go over all the things that you need to do. But if the Google slide is hard, which I think it is, because I put text boxes in there, if that's too hard, just make your own. Look how fast this was. I just rewrote these categories and drew lines. So just make your own. You don't have to, don't worry about if the text boxes are a pain in the petunia, don't worry about it, okay? All right, but let's think what we're gonna have to do. So they're asking us to take all of these different shapes that we have right here, and there's pictures of them, and name it. So what is the name of this? This is called a cube. How many faces does it have? 6. How many vertices does it have? You've done this in your workbook about 7 times, right? Just Well, how many edges does it have? What are the shape of the faces? The shape of the faces. So if I traced this face, what shape would it be? It's a square. If I traced this shape, what shape would it be? That face, it would be a circle. Shape of the faces. Now these are the new ones. Ready? You need to tell whether if it rolls, if it slides, and if it stacks. Okay, ready? Roll. Does a cube roll? No. Does a sphere roll? Does a cylinder roll? Oh, hold on. Slides. All right. Can I push? Does it slide? Stacks. Can I stack a bunch of cubes? Can I stack a bunch of cones? Can I stack several spheres? I bet you can already think of the answers. Okay. And then the last category is a real world example. Where would you find a cube? Where in your house could you find a cube? Where could you find a cone? The hardest one is this one, because you don't really find those very often, but there are some famous ones, right? Okay, so that's the first thing. This is kind of like your workbook page-ish, okay? Either do it in the Google Doc or make your own and take a picture. Either one, doesn't matter to me, do whatever is easiest. Okay, so that's gonna help us review what a face, what an edge is, and what a vertex is, and what the names of all of our shapes. And then, ready? Project number 2. And this is another Google slide in here, so be very careful to take a look. You are going to build a building. First, you have to go around your house. Jack, could you come zoom over here? Go around your house and collect items that are either rectangular prisms, cubes, spheres, cones, cylinders. I didn't have any square pyramids in our house, so I didn't get any of those. Okay, so I have cereal boxes, I have a hacky sack, I have a can of beans, I have Clark's wipes, which everybody should have, I have my toothpaste, 2 different boxes of tissues, and my toilet paper roll. Okay? The other thing, now you can collect anything. You can collect as many things as you want to collect, but make sure your mom and dad say it's okay. Okay, ready? Collect things. And then you're going to measure several of them. You don't have to measure, if you collect 40 things, you don't have to measure 40 things, but you're going to measure several of them. I think I left room for you to measure 10, so maybe about 10 things, okay? And you're going to have to find the 3 dimensions for each thing. So you ready? I'm going to find the length to the nearest ½ inch. So the length to the nearest ½ inch of this cereal box would be 7.5 inches. The width to the nearest ½ inch, 2 inches. And then the height to the nearest ½ inch, 11 inches. And I'm going to record that. You'll see that in the Google slide. I'm going to record the 3 dimensions of my objects that you find. Now, what do you think about this? Well, we can easily tell what the height is. The length and the width would be the diameter of the circle. And that's kind of, we don't really call it that. We usually call it the diameter. But you could put, like for this one, this is 4 inches across. That's called the diameter of the circle. So it would be 4 inches and 4 inches, and then how tall it is. Okay? All right, so after you take your measurements on a few things, and you could do it with a ruler, or you could do it with, hold on, someone's at the door to play. We'll be right there. Or you could do it with a tape measure, okay? Then you're gonna build the tallest structure you can build. Okay, so do you think I should start my base with a can of beans? No! So, let's see, I'm gonna build the tallest structure I can build. Oh no, that might not work. Woo! Oh, maybe not yet. All right, and woo! Uh-oh, my can of beans, careful! I might not do that. It might take you, oh no, it might take you a few builds to get that right. Okay, you're going to build the tallest structure you can build, and then you're going to take its measurements. I might need a bigger base. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should have done a bigger base, right? So play with it, try, experiment, try lots of different things. And then at the very end, you're going to get your 3 dimensions of your new building, okay? You're going to need how long it is, how wide it is, and then how tall it is. If you want to use a tape measure, go ahead and use a tape measure. Just be very careful, or you might have a sewing one that's soft. Okay. you're gonna get your measurements. If you can take a picture of it and include it in the Google slide, I'd love to see it, but you don't have to. Okay, but you do have to measure. So we're gonna be working on shapes and measuring and building. And then when you finish, you have to put all of your things away. Okay, everybody? All right, so just to review, you have this sheet to do, and you have to build and record your measurements. There are no workbook pages. There is no lesson check. This is it. So you have until Friday to do these 2 things. Easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. I'm hoping it's lots of fun because I was having fun kind of collecting things. So have a great time and make sure you clean up after yourself. Bye, third grade.